Hello everyone, my name is William Tafstan still, but I will be switching over to Florida Paleo Libertarian probably sooner rather than later. On today's quick little video I'm going to make, we're going to be discussing the May 16th election, starting off with the big one, the Kentucky governor primaries, with Andy Bashar retaining quite favorably, obviously, considering who his opponents were. Uh, but more importantly, the Republican primary, we had Daniel Cameron almost come away with 50% of the vote. And honestly, this race didn't get too interesting until the very end, when it came out that Kraft had spent like $11 million if you include the PACs. Quarles had spent like 300K, probably more, maybe a million now, because that info is a little outdated. Daniel Cameron spent about $1.5 million, but Daniel Cameron had the Trump endorsement, as we all know. He's been the front runner of this race this entire time. Quarles and Kraft are just trying to split the base, especially Kraft, because she's basically a carpetbagger from Oklahoma with no support in this state except what she could buy. Those four counties she won, if I recall correctly, that's in the district of someone who endorsed her. Uh, and yeah, Quarles did better than expected. Most polls had Daniel Cameron at about 35%, Kelly Craft at about 25%, and Quarles at like 15%, and that includes leaners. You can watch my video yesterday, and I show the stuff. I show a poll basically saying that. So Quarles getting second place, kind of a shocker. Cameron winning by such a massive margin, also a shocker. But what makes this race really interesting is the fact that Ron DeSantis endorsed Kelly Craft the night before the election with no other goal than, I guess, to spite Trump. And I mean, Ron, of course, gets to say it was a last second endorsement that had no impact, but he deserves some egg on his face because Kelly Craft is quite literally probably the worst candidate in this primary. She's a carpetbagger who doesn't really share any of Kentucky's values, and clearly Kentucky rejected her by massive margins. So definitely a political misplay by DeSantis, and that officially means that Trump is 1-0 in the proxy war against DeSantis. And I don't know if Trump has truth about that yet, but expect one in the near future. Going on to the Jacksonville results, we lost to Jacksonville mayor, it flipped to Democrat. And that's a bit sad because Jacksonville was one of the last like big cities that still would regularly vote for a Republican mayor. Last time a Democrat held this was in 2011, if I recall correctly. Um, some people blame DeSantis, some people are blaming Trump. One, don't blame Trump. He didn't get involved here. Uh, Presidential candidates really don't get involved in mayoral elections. Two, you can technically blame Ron if you want. I don't see it that way, but time spent not in Ohio could have helped in Jacksonville. But at the end of the day, Daniel Davis ran a really terrible campaign. Some people are saying blame his campaign manager who used to work for Trump or whatever and hates Ron. I just think Daniel Davis was garbage at his job because yeah, campaign managers like are important, but a good candidate also knows when something's wrong. And he outspent Donna 7-1, 10-1, 3-1, massively outspent her, lost horrifically. And this is particularly kind of bad because we actually had the turnout advantage. When you compare it to Democrats, there were like 4% more Republicans, which means he just lost the Indies in the city or whatever. And I mean, he's a bad candidate. That's point blank. This is really no one's fault except Daniel Davis um, and the Duval GOP. But because I know Donna, like she used to run a charity and she did other stuff that made her look really good. And Daniel Davis, I don't know what he did. But more importantly, the what might as well be like a vice mayor group, the Jacksonville City Council at large, we did win that. So the desire to vote for a Republican was there. It just didn't manifest. So that's interesting, I think. Here, because I don't have New York Times, here is the Supreme Court Republican primary. I wasn't sure if we were actually going to get the results done in time. But Carolyn Carluccio walked away with a hefty lead once Eastern PA kind of came in, especially the Philadelphia suburbs. Patricia McCullough, I don't know. Patricia, she was the Doug Mastriano endorsed candidate. She was very involved in Stop the Steal, in fact, ruling in Trump's favor, I think, on multiple occasions before it went to the Supreme Court. And while some people are seeing this as a win that the GOP electorate in Pennsylvania is sane, the way I'm looking at it, if there was a third candidate here, Patricia probably would have easily won. Um, and that goes to show that Pennsylvania has a primary voter issue, I'm gonna say, and I personally disagree with conventions. I think the primary system is a bit better. Um, but Pennsylvania is probably one of the states that need a convention system to kind of keep the riffraff out a little. Or the Pennsylvania GOP needs to figure out something, and preferably fast. But this was a good result, I guess. I think Carolyn still loses at the end of the day, but we have a chance. Although with the way the GOP does things, we probably don't. I don't know what Carolyn's views on abortion are, but she probably needs to be very liberal on them to have a chance to win in Pennsylvania. And last one, the next mayor of Philadelphia will be Cheryl Parker, which is good. If she beats the Republican, she will beat the Republican. Um, she is the most normie cop there is, or the most normie candidate here. Helen Jim was endorsed by AOC and Bernie, and both of these, I think, were like, I think basically everyone here was anti-cop except Cheryl Parker. I think she's pro like stop and frisk and stuff like that. So, congrats to Philadelphia. You're gonna do better than Chicago in the short term. But yeah, that was it for today's quick video. Just wanted to go over the May 16th results. And one more time, I'll laugh at Kelly Craft because this is hilarious to me.